Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I thought I'd make a quick video today talking about what is Palantir's real problem. Its real challenge it's facing. So let's start with an analogy. Foundry is a bit like the F-35. It is a high-powered piece of machinery. It can do all kinds of things. It's a precision instrument, though, and it's really complicated, right? This thing is not just your average toy you're going to pick up at the supermarket or at the toy store. This requires training. It requires knowledge on how to use it and apply it appropriately. It's where it's used and how it's not shouldn't be used. All those kinds of things, right? So we think of Palantir Foundry as sort of like the F-35, right? Well, if I sell the F-35 to Alice, right? She buys Foundry. Alice is prepared. She's a pilot. She's ready to, I mean, look at the look on her face. Would you want to mess with Alice? Like, Alice looks like she's ready to kick some ass, right? And that's amazing. Alice knows how to appropriately use the F-35. But I also sell Palantir Foundry to Bob. And Bob kind of doesn't know what he's doing. Bob's kind of a dumbass. And Bob is going to take that F-35. And what's going to happen with Bob and Alice? Let's look at the difference in outcomes. Well, when Alice actually buys Foundry, she takes off. She's soaring like an eagle, right? She's up above the clouds. She's loving every minute of it, right? And when Bob takes off with Foundry, right? Bob puts it in the drink, right? So like this is the fucking problem facing Palantir right now, right? It's like, and unfortunately, there's a lot more Bobs than there are Alices out there, right? So like we've got a real problem of how do we educate our customer? And it's not even like in a lot of cases. Let's put it this way. As a company, you might approach this problem and you might say, let me get really talented, really smart people to sit with these customers, understand the challenges they're trying to solve, or like the challenges they have, the problems they need to solve, and let me help them help themselves, right? The problem with that is it doesn't scale, right? That is a consultancy. It is absolutely required, by the way, for some of these larger organizations who have massive change management problems in adapting. So those resources need to be directed to the right places. But again, that's not scalable, right? That is a sort of high value problem that you can apply in select cases. And the real trick is, when you go back to my very first video, how you solve this problem, is how do I create channel partners, right? Because it turns out that Alice and Bob both already have vendor relationships to acquire airplanes. I don't need to go to Bob and necessarily create a new sales channel with Bob, right? Bob is contracting with Northrop Grumman. He's contracting with all these people, and so is Alice, right? So those are known as integrators, and often I'll refer to those people as solutions, right? So that is the solution side, especially in the ERP space and in the software space. And these are big companies. They're all companies you've heard of, and they have massive agreements and engagements. The issue is they also have massive tech stacks, right? How do I get my solution prioritized, right? How do I rely on these channel partners to effectively engage my customers and produce results, right? We have to incentivize them, and those incentives come in the form of low friction, high value deals that they can close at a rapid pace without having to go back to you and get you in the loop, right? Like they want basically the equivalent of, I never see you again. I just send you the checks, right? So like that's the kind of, and that is scalable. And that's how companies like Microsoft find ways to scale inferior product, because they build in the incentives for their channel partners who do solutions, who will actually do the hard work to make sure Bob doesn't put it in the drink. They actually build the incentive structures to create those low friction, high value deals that they can just go out and replicate over and over again. So if Palantir really wants to solve its sales problem, well, I'm not going to say it's a sales problem. That's incorrect. If they really want to solve this problem of Bob putting it in the drink when he should be soaring like an eagle, what they've got to do is effectively leverage channel partners to provide those solutions and provide the incentives within their deals and contracts to make sure that they're not having to go back to Palantir to ask for every little thing, that they could essentially run on infinite compute with a rev share agreement. They can onboard as many tenants as they need to. And I think at the end of the day, that combined with free and open access to the platform for educational purposes and an army of developers who are already trained in this shit, providing best practice solutions out of box, Bob can't fuck it up anymore. Like at that point, you're pretty much in the clear. You combine those two things, and it's something I've been saying since day zero with Palantir, you will crush it. But this idea that you're going to go around and solve everyone's problems for them is both A, like you're actually hindering your own growth. That doesn't scale. And B, it makes the customers angry. The customers don't want to deal with that shit. Because what I've heard from some customers is that Palantir speaks a different language. Like they want to move right to this incredible solution, but they're not ready for that. You know, they want to take little baby steps, and often Palantir knows exactly what their problems are. They'll zero in on it immediately. Engineers do this all the time, by the way. It's like they know exactly where this customer needs to be at the end, right? And they will jump to the end, right? But it's a journey. The customer is not ready to jump to the end, and it will piss them off royally if you keep pushing that, right? They want baby steps. Bob's not ready to launch off the carrier just yet. Bob needs to just get his ass in the cockpit and not fucking break something, right? So like that's the kind of challenges that they need to solve, and using channel partners is the way to do it, along with an army of educated developers who already know the platform inside and out. So hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I'll see you guys for Palantir and Coffee this weekend.